What's going on, y'all? Johnny J back at it again with another video. Now I'm doing a reaction video to a series that I have just finished on my channel, Berserk. I watched episodes 1 all the way to 25, so go on my channel and check that out if you haven't seen any of those reactions slash first time watch with me's, whatever you want to call them. But anyways, this right here is called the Berserk Timeline, Berserk Explained. Now, when I finished the series, I had a lot of questions that weren't answered because it stopped at just that one season. And a lot of people who watched the video, people that subscribed to me, people that's not subscribed to me, was like, you have to read the manga or you have to watch the movies, which is like the new version of Berserk. And I personally don't like the animation at all for this new version of Berserk, which is kind of why I don't really want to hop into it. I like the animation from the 90s. That one looked like legit. That's the one that's the type of animation that I kind of grew up on when it came to the whole Toonami era of Cartoon Network. But anyways, this right here, Berserk Timeline, I was looking for something that would kind of piece things together for me, if I miss anything throughout those first 25 episodes I saw, and even after those 25 episodes, if it was more. Hopefully, this video goes in depth with that after the 25 episodes. If not, I'm still cool with it because, like I said, I've most likely missed certain things that were discussed, spoken about in the first 25. And me finding this video, it hopefully it's going to help me out. Kind of just, it's going to help me kind of put everything together. So let's get into this right here. Berserk Timeline, Berserk Explained, updated.
Berserk, the greatest manga ever in my opinion. And you clicked on this video A because you really like Berserk, B because you're trying to get into Berserk, or C, you saw my last attempt at this kind of timeline and you're hoping I'm less of an incompetent failure. However, with that being said, I will quickly get some things out of the way. The original run of Kentaro Miura's Berserk has been going on since 1989, but with only 359 chapters so far, you're probably wondering why it does not have more or why the series hasn't ended a long time ago. And that would be because of a magical word Berserk fans know all too well. But despite these long eternal breaks, Berserk offers splendid, out-of-this-world levels of artwork that in my eyes have only been matched by Vagabond. Now, one of the major reasons as to why I'm redoing my timeline is because there were some minor mistakes I made here or there, but still, when I go back and watch the video, even though it's my most viewed video, I don't really look back on it with too much happiness. So I felt like I needed to redo it with better audio quality, better editing, and also considering the fact that a new chapter came out not too long ago. So there is a 90s anime that...
Okay, so it seems like he is going to get more into the new stuff, like post that 25 episode mark I had came across. So that's cool. That's cool. We get to see what happened. Ooh, yes.
Has my seal of approval. There are also 3 films on the Golden Age arc. The first 2 being alright.
Yeah, you know what? A subscriber told me to check these 3 films out, and they was like, really check out the third one. So I don't know if I want to check that out. Like I said, I might have issues with the animation, but I mean, if they're good, I can probably tolerate it, and you never know, I might get used to it. I might end up liking it. So just off rip, I'm just like, I don't know. I kind of like them old school '90s animations, but hey, I can't get too caught up in that, right? I kind of have to progress with the times, right? But yeah, man, if I got time and they're like real good, and a lot of people are like, oh, react to them, then hey, I might just sit down and react to them, watch them, check them out. But hey, I'm gonna need you guys to really, really support that if I do it. Hitting like buttons, subscribing, all that good stuff. And oh yeah, follow me on my social medias, my Instagram and my Twitter. I gotta plug that in because I don't really have any followers on those. Anyways, let's get back into this.
And the third one, after rewatching it a week ago, I must say, also has my seal of approval. And then we have Berserk 2016 and 17, which were... But after rewatching some of these adaptations, I must say they are quite enjoyable, with the exception of 2016 and 17. But in order to really enjoy Berserk at its finest, you need to read it through the manga, so I will be leaving a link to where you can read that in the description below. And just like I did in my last timeline, if you are offended by graphic images and content, I definitely suggest clicking off of this video and checking out some of the other content
Berserk
I have on
is
the channel,
crazy,
because Berserk
bloody.
is pretty intense. Now, just like my last timeline, I will go through Guts' backstory and move on from there, instead of beginning in the Black Swordsman arc where the manga does begin. So Guts, the protagonist of the story, would be born from the dead corpse of his mother who would be hanging from a tree. Now, as to how that's even possible, I don't know. But this baby would be adopted by a woman from a group of mercenaries, and she would name the baby Guts since he was born in a pool of guts. Creativity at its finest. However, unfortunately for Guts, his adopted mother would die of the plague, and since this woman was Gambino's main chick, who just happened to be the leader of the group, Gambino would call Guts a cursed child and hold resentment towards him. Now, you would think
See, that was a question I was having too. I was like, I remember when that episode I was watching it and it came up. We get more into Guts' backstory, and he was like, oh, he's like a father to him, and he was talking about, you know, his mother, and I was just like, wait, so did he have two women? I was just confused. So now this kind of fills that in. So yeah, definitely, like I said, on my channel, go and check out those Berserk videos. I definitely have mentioned that I was kind of confused a little bit about his Guts' parentage. So this helps.
Guts
Instantly
probably
helps.
isn't too happy about his adopted mother being dying, so the last thing he needs is his adopted father also treating him like crap now. But it's Berserk. Yet during this time period, Guts would learn how to fight, but Gambino was very abusive both verbally and physically, even selling him for 3 cents to a man named Donovan who, yikes. But then Donovan would be killed, so hooray for justice. Sadly, nothing can go right for Guts for too long, as he would then be forced to defend himself against Gambino, who would be in one of his fits of drunken rage. In self-defense, Guts would kill Gambino and run away for his life. Now Guts would have to live as a lone mercenary pretty much as a kid. Time would pass and Guts would grow older and become bigger and stronger, as he would earn a reputation for being a strong-willed fighter, powerful.
See, I don't like the way this looks right here. This doesn't look good to me.
Band of the Hawk, and when Guts is ready to kill, he is interrupted by the leader of the Band of the Hawk, known as Griffith. Now, Griffith would be the second most important character. Griffith is essentially to Guts what Sasuke is to Naruto, what Vegeta is to Goku, well, you get my point. Griffith would make a very strong impression with his angel-like appearance relatively compared to an extremely dark world. We see this as his character for the first time, and Griffith would challenge Guts, basically saying,
well, you know what? I never really sat down there and thought about it, but Griffith, to me, always did. He always seemed like he stood out based solely upon his physical appearance, because everyone else, because it brings up a good point that the world was kind of dark, it was kind of grimy, and when you really sit down and think about it with Griffith and him bringing up the whole angel thing, it does seem like he was kind of like that light that was there in that world. And he always seemed, like he said, like angel-esque. That's a Kid Cudi word if you listen to that. Anyways, that was besides the point. That was from that song Intergalactic, You and Me. I was just recently listening to that album, but that's why I use that word. So anyways, he had like this angel type of vibe, angel-esque. And yeah, he didn't seem like he belonged there, but I guess him not being within that world and just off of appearance, him not fitting in, and it made him stand out in a good way, you know. So it might be more to that. Maybe if I sit down there and really thought about dissecting that, I could probably come up with a theory as to why it was like that, you know. So that's something that's interesting.
if I beat you, you're mine. And Guts is like,
hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
But Griffith would be Guts, and Guts would wake up the next morning to realize he was now a member of the Hawk, and somebody had been keeping him warm during the night. This somebody would be called Casca, and she would essentially be the third most important character. Time would pass, and Guts would finally get a sense of what camaraderie and friendship are, as the Hawk with Guts were now basically unbeatable. During this time, however, Casca would correct and scorn Guts, often saying he was reckless, and Griffith this, Griffith that. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. When I was reading this for the first time, I was like, dang, hop off my man's nuts for a sec, will you? Speaking of Griffith, we hear about who he is and what his hopes and dreams are. We come to find out that he wants to create his own kingdom, a supposed paradise. But with Griffith saying things like, I will determine where you die, and then we come to see him having a dream of him reaching his goal by climbing the corpses of others, we notice there's something a little off with him. Griffith is also in possession of this red egg that are known as Baelits or Barretts, depends on how you want to pronounce it, and spoilers, there's more than just one of these things. More time would pass as the Band of the Hawk would be hired by the King of Midland, and they would defeat the Tudor Empire, effectively ending 100 Years' War. During this time, Casca would still be harsh towards Guts, but slowly as time goes by, you see that she opens up to him more and more, but there are times where she's still on his case. It was also during this war that when Guts would save Casca's life, as well as fight 100 soldiers by himself. But after a major battle, we
that was a highlight. It's like, man, that's the man that killed 100 people.
Griffith's thoughts as he says to his enemy, he has no emotional attachment, but if not, he was just like a stone in the side of the road. So we notice that Casca is still all about Griffith and stuff, but then we notice what type of person Griffith really is. There are times where Griffith just looks like a completely different person, extremely cold, and he only cares about accomplishing his goal.
It was them eyes. It was points. I've paused it right there. I was about to talk a lot. It was points during the series. Definitely watch it. Where I remember it was the minister, and it was somebody else. I think it was the guy that poisoned him. Yeah, it was one episode where he got poisoned, and was it him? I think it was him. I think it was the queen as well. But it was a couple instances where they had zoomed in on this dude Griffith's eyes, and it was like, man, it's like a hawk staring at me, ready to attack his prey. And damn, it was just that cold look, like, oh shit, you know you fucked up. All those little secrets that you had about taking this guy out, he knows. So that's dope, man. That's interesting that he brought that up.
Fine. The Hawk would then return after their battle, and they would be thrown a huge party and would be national heroes. During this party, Casca would pull Guts aside since she's tired of the men surrounding her. They have a neat moment until the King of Midland arrives and declares them as nobles as they are knighted. But it's still very interesting how as the rest of the Band of the Hawk are celebrating inside, Guts decides to stay outside. Oh, also I should probably mention that the Queen and some other higher-ups try to poison Griffith, and it doesn't work. But after a relatively festive night, Guts decides to leave the Hawk. As Guts leaves, Griffith would stop him, and they would duel it out to see if Guts can really leave. This time things would be...
And then pay attention to the snow, because I had brought that up. And one subscriber or one watcher, they had liked the fact that I brought up the snow aspect of that episode. So I'm not going to really speak too much on that. Just notice that the snow, it's snowing heavy, and then once certain things happen, the snow starts to melt. So check that out.
Different, and Guts would defeat Griffith, which would leave Griffith not too happy. From what else we see of Griffith's personality is that he doesn't do too well with dealing with his problems, as he inflicts self-harm and then sleeps with the king's daughter. However, he gets caught, and Griffith would be tortured and mutilated, as the Hawk would now be hunted outcast. Guts would then return approximately after a year, and an upset Casca would want to meet with him alone. She attacks Guts, saying he ruined it all by leaving Griffith and the Hawk. Casca would then shortly after try to commit suicide, but Guts would catch her, not letting her die. She would then say to Guts that he's always getting hurt because of her, and then they would essentially, tie the knot. It really is a beautiful moment, and if I had to describe Guts and Casca's relationship so far, it can be described with the simple phrase, she hated his guts, but he ended up in hers.
No.
The Hawk during this time would be on a mission
That's
to free
funny.
Griffith, but they find him in a really messed up
That's
condition,
corny
and
as
he
hell,
seems to
but
be a
funny.
former shell of himself. During their time traveling back, Griffith would come in possession of his Baelit, where he initiates a ceremony where you can sacrifice your loved ones for power, known as the Eclipse. Step right up! Which will Griffith choose? Is it A, not kill his friends, or B, kill his friends in a bloody, horrendous massacre and then reappear as Femto and rape Casca in front of Guts? If you said A, then you're fucking...
You know what? I kind of didn't like that part, and like, as someone that writes for like, and does like, writes little films and short films and things like that. It's just like, he just so happened to find a Baelit. I mean, of course he was tied to it, storyline wise, and just when he first received the Baelit, it was said that his fate was tied with it and whatnot. But it was just like, all right, the Baelit was thrown down this little sewer area, and you just so happened to find the Baelit. I think that was kind of cheesy, but hey. They had to do it for the storyline, right?
To really summarize the eclipse, it's a lot of killing and then a little bit of rape, but mostly brutal killing. Guts loses an eye and an arm, and after reading this again, I felt like less of a somewhat decent person. I had to read 2 Bibles. But the Skull Knight would intervene, saving Guts and Casca. By the way, the Skull Knight looks awesome. However, the damage was done as Guts would be hurt in many ways, and the experience left Casca retarded. Yo, you can't say that. That's... People will get offended. Bro, what? What's the problem? Bro, don't... You got destroyed. Now,
I gotta find more about the Skull Knight. Who is
Casca
that?
would be mentally handicapped. Guts would then receive a new prosthetic arm with a crossbow and cannon, as well as this big beauty called the Dragon Slayer. Fueled by rage and vengeance, Guts would leave Casca behind in the care of Goldo and Rickard as he would embark on his quest like a venge.
Sound cut off?
This is where we see a much darker... This is where we...
Wait. I guess the sound cut off, y'all.
This is where we see a much darker form of Guts as he slays demons and apostles day and night. While on a mission to kill one of these apostles, Guts would meet a new companion in Puck, a source of comedy relief, and he is an elf, not a fairy. Something else I should have brought up earlier is that Guts was branded during the eclipse with this symbol, which draws demons to him constantly. So after killing more of these demons and apostles, Guts would save a girl from an evil tree and find out about these
I wonder if he cuts that part of his skin off, will it be gone?
Elves who kill and rape for fun. Ew. Of course, this is not okay, and Guts kills these mini-elves and then would kill the Queen Elf herself in a crazy battle. Guts would then be approached by the Skull Knight again, and he would happen to inform him of another eclipse that is about to go down.
Who is this Skull Knight?
Who's pretty cool, and Farnese, who doesn't like Guts at all since he kind of calls her out on her BS masochism. Later, we would see Guts save Casca, who's going by the name of Elaine by some, and he would kill this weird... Yeah, we'll just go with Weird Goat. Guts would then kill the Weird Goat, fight Sepulchre, catch Sepulchre's sword, and then Sepulchre would leave because he's like, I'm not on the same level as Guts. But then Guts has to defeat Mozgus to save Casca again. After that, Zod, who would warn Guts way back about the...
I wonder if Casca gets her memory back.
And the Skull Knight points to a new reborn Griffith that would come from the Egg Apostle. These other guys show up who would want to kill this new Griffith, but he's being protected by Zod. The group would leave and Farnese would decide to follow the Black Swordsman. We have a big confrontation later on between this new Griffith and Guts, but Guts would then be forced to fight Zod, and after the fight Griffith would leave saying nothing has changed, he would never give up on his own dream to establish his own kingdom. Guts would then be told by Puck that they should go
He still didn't make it after he sold all them niggas out?
Griffith on the other hand would be making his preparations to create a new band of the Hawk and fulfill his dream. We then see Guts and his group meet with Shirka, who's an apprentice of an even greater sorceress, and this group would stumble upon a town being attacked by trolls. Guts takes them all down, but then they go to the main lair to fully end the troubles. But before stumbling upon this town, I should mention the group would get some neat weapons, and Guts would learn some things from Shirka's master or mistress. But back to the current situation. They go deeper into the lair, and Guts would be confronted by Slan, who is one of the members of the God Hand, which was present during the first eclipse and in the Golden Age arc. And
that's the lady.
He's kind of fine. Don't judge me. Slan would take physical form using intestines, gross, and then try to seduce Guts into using the Baelits. But Guts is like,
hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no, hell to the no.
And proceeds to destroy the manifestation. An injured Guts would return to the place where Shirka's mistress is, which is pretty much this mystical forest. However, they would be under attack and Guts would be forced to wear the best armor ever. Quick Berserk 101. The Berserk armor is a dark, sexy-looking armor created by dwarves. As to why dwarves would make a 6'8" armor, I don't know. But this armor makes you a walking tank of unrelenting fury and rage, by taking away any and all feeling of pain and fear. It is also crazy durable, looks godly, and even heals broken bones. The armor was even said to be worn by the legendary Skull Knight himself. Warning, if you or a loved one have worn the Berserk armor and have suffered coughing, piercing, bleeding, constipation, lack of sleep, episodes of uncontrollable anger, insanity, evil, along with bouts of murder, more murder, and rape, you may be eligible for financial compensation. The Berserk armor does not make you invincible, and chances of blood loss are crazy. Do not take the Berserk armor if you are currently under any other medication or if you are pregnant. The Berserk armor does not protect you from any STDs, HIV, or AIDS, and if you want to see a video on the armor, link will be in the description below. Ask your doctor if the Berserk armor is right for you today. Before donning upon the armor, Guts has had confrontations with his inner self. Well, those confrontations would now intensify as Guts would wear the armor. Guts would eliminate the threat, but Shirka has to then stop Guts from going on a massive rampage. They leave the forest behind and escape, but Shirka's master would die. They would be on a beach and they see Casca holding a child, who we'll just call the Moonlight Boy. Look, I don't really feel like going into depth about that, so I'll just leave a link about that video in the description below. Guts would kill more monsters and stuff as Ganishka, a giant cloud, would declare war. Guts and Zod would be forced to team up and defeat Ganishka, which was really cool, but then he would activate his own Baelit or Barrett, you can pick which way you want to pronounce it. Griffith, Skull Knight, and Zod would be up there, and Griffith with his power will cut the tree, merging the two worlds of existence. Basically the astral spiritual world and the physical world, which would make a city. Meanwhile, Guts and company would get on a boat. Guts would kill a sea god and then would sail onto the location where Casca's mind, or Elaine's mind, can be recovered. They reach the location and we see Falconia, Griffith's new kingdom. We would then enter Casca's dreamscape and see what's really been going on in her mind. I will also be leaving a link to a great video about that in the description. Casca's mind would sort of be healed as we see her then cut her hair and resemble the Casca of old. She then approaches Guts, but he would be standing behind a tree. Casca would remark how much Guts has seemed to really mature, as he would take someone like Isidro under his wing, and that was something that Guts before would never really do. And it would seem things would really be going well until Casca would then enter a panic attack as she remembers the eclipse. Guts would come out from behind the tree to try to help her, but as she looks at Guts, she sees all these horrible monsters surrounding him, so she can't even look at Guts at the current moment. So the long-awaited reunion between Guts and Casca is put on hold again. Now, as to the future of Guts and Casca's relationship, along with Berserk in general, is a giant mystery at this point. We're basically preparing to enter Berserk's quote-unquote war arc, and there is a lot that will go down. I'm hoping this video was better than the last one since I corrected some of the mistakes I made on the previous timeline, along with the audio and the visuals being much better. So with that being said, this has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and
Well, I'm gonna cut it off right there. Big ups to the YouTuber that made this video. This, very informative. Definitely filled in a lot of holes. Well, not a lot, but some holes that I had questions to. But now I have more questions. Like, who is this Skull Knight? Like, is there any background information on that person? If you guys know anything about this Skull Knight, because that was a question I kept like, who is this guy? He came in, he saved him from the eclipse, he pops up throughout. There's points where Guts fought him, and there's points where they teamed up. Zod popped back up. Is the Skull Knight Zod? I don't know. Definitely, you guys comment down below and tell me more about this. But this was a good video. It definitely helped throughout, and I knew it was gonna get more into it, especially when it was like 4 minutes in, and it was at the part where I stopped at when it came to the series, like episode 25 or so. So I was like, all right, cool. They're gonna actually get into it. Very interesting what happened to Casca. Her losing her memory, and then her coming back, and then she had a panic attack. So that's pretty interesting. You know, the whole armor situation, the other Beylit. I wonder how many Beylits there are. You know, I wonder if there's like a lot of them or it's just a few. Because I know it was a Beylit at the beginning that the one demon had, and then of course Griffith had a Beylit. But I'm surprised. But Griffith, he did all this, and he still didn't get what he wanted. Like, he still has to build up for it. So it's like, okay, cool. You back to the physical state that you're in. You're probably even stronger than you were before, because now you have like demon power on you now. But you still aren't at that level. And on top of that, you got to rebuild a Hawk clan or group or whatever you want to use, whatever term you want to use. Like, all those demons that were there, they couldn't give you an army, and you have like an army of demons, and you just take over. You could have just took over the kingdom that was there. That, you know, that you know, imprisoned you with that squad of demons. You know, because that's what I was thinking was gonna happen. I thought he was gonna come back with that huge team of demons and be like, "Look, I'm taking over. This is my city. This is my town. I run this town." I thought that was gonna happen, but I guess not. I guess he just wanted his own, even if that was an option, right? But anyways, it's pretty cool. If there's another Berserk timeline video or Berserk explain video, definitely comment that down below. Also comment down below anything that was missed in this explanation video. More information, the better. So, you know, I really like this series, man. I'm, like I said, if enough people want me to watch those films, I will sit down there and watch those films. I would love to do like some type of live stream on those, but I don't think I'll have enough people watching that. You know, I don't want to just sit down there, set the whole thing up, and like no one watches it. That might be annoying, but hey, you know, it is what it is, right? Got to build this new channel up. Got to build it up. So definitely comment down below your thoughts and all that good stuff that you've been doing. But yeah, I got a new series that I'm gonna start watching, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, this is Johnny J, and I'm out.